Welcome and thank you so much for joining us. This is Africa Today. My name is Nahabe Kajir. But first, are the headlines. Minister Nandutu committed to High Court for trial, remanded over Karamoja iron sheets. Sudanese Army paramilitaries RSF announced new 24th ceasefire. Now deal African countries ask for win-win partnerships. In a sports news today, KCCA appoint Jackson Mayanja on interim basis. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. We start with one of our top stories. The minister who cautioned the new board against failing service delivery at the facility noted that the government is struggling to strengthen health system in order to stop medical tourism where a lot of money is spent. We have more on this report.
Ms. Anifa Kawoya, however, said feeding patients by government will only continue in Botabika National Mental Referral Hospital because patients there are not mentally stable. Government health facilities such as district general hospitals and regional referral health facilities have over the years been offering 3 meals to patients daily, with a daily menu that comes with porridge for breakfast and posho and beans for lunch and supper. Ms. Kawoya, who addressed the media after the swearing-in of the board for Kayunga Regional Referral Hospital on Tuesday, said the patient's feeding policy is currently not possible. The inaugural board is headed by Dr. Simon Poya, while Dr. Robert Sentongo, the hospital director, is the secretary to the board. Other members include Ms. Teddy Nalunkuma, Ms. Kapolon, Mr. Benon Seliazi, Engineer Robert Kalenzi, Mr. Joel Sentamu, Mr. Louis Muhindo, Dr. Ahmed Matovu, and Mr. Ismail Senkungu. The board will serve for a 3-year term, which is only renewable for 1 term. The minister who cautioned the new board against failing service delivery at the facility noted that the government is struggling to strengthen the health system in order to stop medical tourism where a lot of money is spent. Noting that government was aware of the staffing gap at the facility, the ministry said the issue would be addressed when funds are available. She also commended the health workers for preserving during the COVID-19 and Ebola outbreaks by treating patients despite the death of some of their colleagues. Dr. Joseph Okware, the Director of Health Services at the Ministry of Health, said they expect quality work from the board. Mr. Mpoya said his first assignment would be to acquire a land title for the hospital.
Moving on, Agnes Nandutu has become the first minister to be committed to High Court for trial over the Karamoja iron sheet scandal. We have one. Nandutu, the state minister for Karamoja, who on Tuesday handed herself over to police, was at 11 a.m. on Wednesday chauffeured to the anti-corruption court in Kololo by police after spending a night in cells at Chira Division Police Headquarters. Nandutu was later paraded before Grade 1 Magistrate Esther Asimwe, and 1 count related to diverting of iron sheets made for Karamoja Community Empowerment Program were read for her. A charge of dealing with suspect property contrary to Section 21, Subsection 1 of the Anti-Corruption Act 2009 was read for her. Under the charge, the Director of Public Prosecutions contends that during the month of June 2022, at the OPM stores Namamve Mukono District and Kolasel, Bulwani Parish in Mukono District, the minister dealt with 2,000 pre-painted iron sheets of gauge 28 by receiving and holding the said iron sheets, which she had reasons to believe were acquired as a result of loss of public property, an offense under Section 10, Subsection 1 of the Anti-Corruption Act 2009. However, Nandutu denied the charges. The prosecution, led by Tol David Bisamonyu, quote, that investigations into the matter have been completed. The state prosecutor also told court he was ready to disclose all the evidence to be used to pin Minister Nandutu. The state minister's case has been adjourned up to May 3rd. Nandutu now joins fellow minister Mary Gorete Chitutu and Amos Lugolobi to be arraigned before court over the iron sheet saga. She, however, becomes the first minister to be committed to High Court for trial. We take a quick break. We shall come back with international news. Welcome back from the break. You're still watching TV Africa, the right to know. Moving on, in our international news today, Sudanese military and its paramilitary rival each have announced that they will abide by a 24-hour ceasefire starting on Wednesday evening after a previous attempt at a truce failed a day earlier. Now, a similar pause on Tuesday night fell apart almost immediately, and it was not clear if the new attempt would hold.
Earlier on Wednesday, the Al Taif neighborhood near Khartoum International Airport, dark plumes of smoke drifted across the sky as the army and paramilitaries RSF faced each other for a fifth day. North of the capital, the Sudanese armed forces reportedly regained control of the Merowe air base after the rival rapid response forces claimed control. It is the Saudi-owned Al Arabiya TV that aired footage from the Merowe air base showing damages in the control tower, terminals, hangars and fire engines. The UN said that at least 296 people have been killed since Saturday, but the toll is likely higher since many bodies have been left in the streets unreachable because of clashes. With no sign of respite on the eve of the Eid al-Fitr celebrations, Sudanese citizens who have been trapped inside for days by the violence share among neighbors. As some Khartoum residents have begun fleeing, reports have it that Uganda's foreign ministry is seeking to evacuate students, workers and travelers from Sudan.
Moving on, in international news, the French Council of Investors in Africa has organized a partnership forum in Paris under the theme Time for a New Deal with Africa. We have more. The African continent is a major supplier of energy to the European Union and has many raw materials and rare metals that are essential to the energy transition and are highly sought after around the world. For Anthony Nkinzo Kamole, Director General of the Democratic Republic of Congo's National Investment Agency, global development will not happen without the continent. Industrialization is an essential pillar of African development. To achieve this goal, the DRC is banking on its industrialization master plan, which costs $58 billion. The aim is to revive the sector by focusing on three key areas. The key areas include the agri-food sector, then energy, which is extremely important, and then infrastructure. These projects will be carried out together with European partners. Abdoulaye, Director General of the Senegalese Agency for the Promotion of Investment and Major Works, said that in Senegal, the government wants to create the best business conditions for companies. Delegations from Niger, Chad and the Congo were at the conference of agreed on one point: the need for a paradigm shift essential to ensure local production and a better redistribution of wealth. In the era of the New Deal, African countries are open to partnerships on condition that it's a win-win for all. Away from that, Zimbabwean President Emmerson Mnangagwa on Tuesday vowed that general elections expected later this year will be free and fair, but issued a warning to Ruggie civic society organizations during an Independence Day speech.
The 80-year-old leader who is seeking re-election urged Zimbabweans to say no to violence before, during and after the upcoming crunch vote. The independence celebrations were held in the small town of Mount Darwin, around 155 kilometers northeast of the capital Harare. Mnangagwa's ZANU-PF party has been accused in the past of using violence and intimidation to instill fear in opponents during elections. 2 days after the 2018 polls, soldiers killed 5 people when opposition protesters alleging fraud took to the streets of Harare, burning tires and pulling down street signs. Mnangagwa also warned of voices, foreign or local, inclusive of rogue NGOs, sowing seeds of division and disharmony among us. Nicknamed the Crocodile for his ruthless crowning, Mnangagwa replaced strongman ruler Robert Mugabe in 2017 after a military-led coup. The Southern African country is due to hold presidential and legislative votes expected to be in August, but no dates has been announced yet.
Now, the UN Special Envoy to the Great Lakes region urged the Security Council on Wednesday to push harder for the peace, as he noted a slight improvement to the situation on the ground. This comes after months of fighting and regional meditations for a halt of hostilities in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. We have more on this report. According to the UN Special Envoy to the Great Lakes region, a fragile calm has now begun to prevail in the eastern DRC, but that urged members to work to ensure that tensions do genuinely decrease, as well as supporting efforts in the region to put an end to the crisis. The region is plagued by violence emanating largely from multiple armed groups, including the rebel M23 fighters, who launched a major campaign against government troops in late 2021. If guns reportedly fell silent in some parts of eastern DRC, the authorities have so far rejected negotiations with the armed group. Georges Nzongela, the permanent representative of the Democratic Republic of Congo to the United Nations, repeated the statement, which they have already slated on different occasions, that the DRC will not negotiate with the M23. He asked whether there is any known country today that is negotiating with terrorists. He gave an example of Rwanda, which he said never negotiated with FDLR. Some 600,000 are displaced in North Kivu alone, while 38,000 more Congolese became refugees between October last year and this February. Relations between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo are still fraught. Regional forces are deployed in DRC's east to oversee the withdrawal of all armed groups. Africa Today takes a quick break. We shall come back with business, health, and sports. Welcome back from the break. You're still watching TV Africa, the right to know. Talking matters business, vegetables in Moroccan markets are almost as expensive as in some French supermarkets, with a minimum wage that is 5 times lower than the country's agricultural model based on exports, and being called into question by record inflation, which is provoking anger among the population. We have more on this report.
The inflationary surge plus 10.1% year-on-year in February, including a 20.1% rise in food products, according to the High Commission for Planning, has earned the executive criticism from all sides in the middle of the holy month of Ramadan, when consumption increases. If the scale of the demonstrations against the high cost of living remains limited, discontent is growing. At the beginning of February, the government suspended the export of certain products, notably tomatoes, in order to supply the local market, prompting protests from professional associations who asked Prime Minister Aziz to reverse this measure. In the meantime, the Central Bank of Morocco last month raised its key rate to 3%, the third increase in 6 months, in order to curb the galloping inflation that is affecting modest and vulnerable households. The decision has displeased the government, which is counting on a recovery through growth, still sluggish, and is worried about negative repercussions on the purchasing power of Moroccans, according to the media.
In a health news today, Global Health Initiative UNITAID say that it is making $31 million investment to prevent hepatitis C among people who inject drugs and other at-risk populations, such as those in prisons. Marginalized groups are disproportionately affected by the blood-borne disease, which can cause serious liver damage and cancer when left untreated. 4 in 10 people who inject drugs and 1 in 4 incarcerated individuals have active hepatitis C infections. UNITAID say that there are now highly effective treatments that are affordable in more low and middle income countries where 80% of people with the virus live. Its funding will support efforts to reach these people by incorporating testing and treatment into harm reduction programs. At the same time, it will trial the use of 2 underused products aimed at reducing risks associated with injecting drugs. Both will be tested in Egypt, India, Nigeria, South Africa, Tanzania, Ukraine, and Vietnam. The prevention tools and approaches will also help prevent transmission of other blood-borne diseases, including HIV. In sports news today, KCCA has confirmed the appointment of Jackson Mayanja as interim manager until the end of the season. Now, the club revealed the appointment on Wednesday evening, indicating Mayanja will be in charge for the remainder of the season.
The club confirmed on their website that KCCAFC has appointed Jackson Mayanja as the interim head coach until end of June 2023. He replaces Mole Biekwaso, who resigned on Sunday after elimination from the Stanbic Uganda Cup against Solitilo Bright Stars at the quarter-final stage. Mayanja, a legend in Lugogo, returns to the club for a second stint as a coach, having managed the team in 2005. Since then, he has been all over the place, including managing teams like coached at URAFC, Bunamwaya SC, Kagera FC, Simba SC, Chetume FC, AS Kigali and Uganda Cranes as an assistant coach, and most recently Uganda Hippos. In the other changes made, Badru Kadu, who has been the team's first assistant coach since 2015, has been relieved of his duties. Richard Malinga, who has been part of the technical team and in charge of the junior team, has also been sacked and replaced by Saka Mpema, who is now elevated to the position of first team coach, also doubling as the junior team head coach.
Thank you so much, reporter. It is at this particular time that I thank you for being part of us and always joining us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We should keep updating you. It is TV Africa, the bright to know.